When compared to scripted love stories in movies or literature, real-life love stories feel much more authentic. The following are heartwarming real-life brief love stories that not even novelists could think up. These are some cute little love stories to help you remember the wonderful power of love. Here are some amazing real-life love stories from the biggest power on the planet in all of its guises. Some of these stories are amusing, while others will make you laugh. They will all, however, deeply convince you of the immense strength of love and its ability to overcome any obstacle. Enjoy these stunning love stories. The most lovely short love stories. Let us begin with some truly beautiful and inspiring love stories. Accident with a happy ending. When Frank's wife had a car accident, she was so injured that she fell into a coma. Years passed, but Frank did not stop visiting his wife at the hospital. Even though almost everyone, including the doctors, had given up hope, he remained faithful that she would one day recover. Every time he visited her, he began talking to her, recounting all those beautiful moments they spent with each other. One day, when he showed her the video of their wedding day, she slowly began to move her hand. She whispered his name and began gaining consciousness. Several weeks after she had woken up, she had fully recovered and was finally allowed to leave the hospital for good. When the couple left, she told Frank that she heard his voice while she was in a coma and that it was his voice that was the greatest aid in helping her to return to consciousness. Love letters from the Caribbean. In 1907, David Hurd moved from his hometown in Jamaica to New York City. The migration wasn't easy for the young man and he became terribly homesick. He missed his hometown and the company of his friends. In order to distract himself, David Hurd began searching for a potential pen friend from his homeland. He found a woman called Avril Cato from the Caribbean who was interested in establishing a correspondence with him. Go to know each other with each letter. The two slowly got to know each other, with one letter after the other. 1 year later, the two had fallen in love with each other, without having ever met. 7 years later, Avril and David met for the first time. It was the day before their wedding, as David had proposed to her shortly before. The two married and had 6 children. A heartwarming farewell gift. When Jean was diagnosed with melanoma, he had only been given 6 weeks left to live. It was a shocking diagnosis, but Jean decided to use the time he had left to make all the necessary arrangements for his wife Carol, with whom he had been married for 30 years. He cashed out his pension and used the money to pay off the house they were living in. The second step was to arrange a trip for his wife Carol and the rest of the family to Italy. When they visited a specific church in Venice, a priest was already waiting for the couple. It was in this church that Jean's parents had married more than 50 years ago. At that day, Jean and Carol renewed their wedding vows and had the most beautiful day. After Jean had died, his wife Carol discovered that he hid hundreds of post-it notes around the entire house, shortly before he died. Throughout the course of many months, she found one note after another. The notes are beautiful and very personal statements meant to encourage Carol in this difficult time. But Jean also reminded his wife in these statements to fully enjoy every aspect of life, to sell his car and to move on with her life. It was the most heartwarming farewell gift one could ever imagine. Surgery. When a surgeon operated a little girl, complications started to arise. She lost a lot of blood and was in need of blood transfusion. However, she had blood type O, which wasn't available in the hospital. The surgeon, therefore, asked the girl's little brother, who was an O type as well, if they could draw blood from him. He explained that it was incredibly important, or as he said, a matter of life and death. The young boy, seemingly afraid, sat a couple of moments in silence until he finally agreed. He got up and hugged his parents, wishing them goodbye. After the nurses had taken the blood from him, he whispered anxiously if they knew how many minutes he had left to live. He was absolutely convinced that he was going to die so that his sister could live. And he was willing to do so. When the nurses realized that the young boy thought he was going to die, they cheered him up and explained to him that he had many wonderful and joyful decades left to live. Run away. When a young student of a Catholic church asked her teacher about the reasons why she decided to become a religious sister, her teacher told her a heartwarming love story. Many years ago, when she was at a similar age, the teacher, let's call her Ms. Patterson, fell in love with a young man stemming from a wealthy family. The two began seeing each other and quickly developed a deep connection with each other. Unfortunately, the young man's family was not at all in agreement with the relationship. They even threatened to enroll their son at a university overseas and far away. As Ms. Patterson came from a poor background, she couldn't possibly have afforded to go with him at that time. This meant that if they wanted to continue the relationship, they would be separated from each other if they wanted or not. But they both had fallen so in love with each other that ending the relationship, no matter in what way, was not an option. For this reason, they decided to run away. In great secrecy, they planned their escape and set these plans into action when the young man's family finally found out about it. But instead of quickly returning back home after running away, the two never went back. They joined the church, took holy orders and began traveling the world for various humanitarian missions. The two spent 40 years traveling and even got married, shortly before the man's life came to an end.